इंडियन अमेरिकन समुदाय के लिए व्हाइट हाउस के द्वार आज पहली बार खोले गए हैं।
Friends, about 3 decades ago, I came on a visit to America as a common man. At that time, I had seen the White House from outside. After becoming the Prime Minister, I have come here many times, but today, for the first time, the doors of the White House have been opened for the Indian American community in such large numbers.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent state visit to the United States from June 21st to 24th marked a historic moment for Indian Americans and Georgians. During his White House address on June 22nd, PM Modi expressed that it was the first time the gates of the White House were open for Indian Americans, an occasion cherished by nearly 7,000 members of the diaspora from across the country. Little did he know that his visit also opened the doors of the US Capitol for the people of Georgia for the first time. As part of the state visit, a reception was hosted by Senator John Ossoff in the US Capitol's LBJ room S211 on June 21st evening to welcome Georgians who were visiting Washington in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. The room, rich in history, emanated a sense of significance, reminding attendees of the important events that had taken place there in the past. The atmosphere was filled with excitement as familiar faces and prominent Georgians gathered, eagerly anticipating the following day's joint appearance of PM Modi and President Biden on the South Lawns.
To meet with Senator Ossoff this evening, and tomorrow we will be at the South Lawn for India's Prime Minister Modi's state welcome, inaugural welcome, as well as there is an address to the Congress for both the houses.
The room buzzed with enthusiasm as Georgia Senator John Ossoff entered, shaking hands and engaging in personal conversations before stepping up to the podium. He began his speech with a heartfelt welcome.
It is such a pleasure to host you here in the historic LBJ room here in the United States Senate, and even more of a pleasure and the privilege to represent you in the Senate. We, of course, this week are welcoming Prime Minister Modi to Washington for a state visit. I know many of you will be at the White House tomorrow for the welcome ceremony, and we will also be hearing directly from the Prime Minister as he addresses a joint session of Congress. He is the third head of state since President Biden was inaugurated to be honored with a state visit. First, President Macron of France. We had President Yoon from South Korea just a few weeks ago, and now Prime Minister Modi. I had the pleasure of leading a very successful economic delegation to India last year. And I want you to know that my objective and my office's objective is to be the most effective and responsive and present federal representative that Georgia's Indian community has ever had. And we will continue to endeavor to grow, to improve, to intensify the outreach and inclusion efforts from my office to ensure that Indian Americans in Georgia have a seat at the table, a voice in the Senate, and direct access to me and my team so that we can best understand your needs, respond to your needs, and be responsive to your needs. And so your presence here, your gracious acceptance of this invitation to join me and my team for this welcome reception is a great honor for us. Your presence here in Washington is a great honor for us. And the U.S.-India bilateral relationship is a strategically critical one. That's one of the reasons that I chose to lead the mission to India last year. There is tremendous potential to grow cooperation in trade and commerce, in security, in research and development, in agriculture, in a wide range of sectors. There are tremendous opportunities for growth, and that growth is best built upon our shared values and traditions as pluralist democracies in a world where the values of freedom and tolerance and representative government are threatened. And so I look forward to continuing to work with the ambassador here, with the tenacious and extraordinarily hardworking Consul General in Georgia, who's hosted many of us together on many occasions at her home, and with all of you to ensure that you are effectively represented here in the Senate. So thank you for coming. It is truly an honor. I hope you find your time in Washington. Thank you so much. I hope you find your time in Washington to be productive. I will make sure that everybody in this room has my personal cell phone number. So you can call, you can text if you have a suggestion, if you have a request, if there's anything that my team and I can assist you with. We will try. I don't guarantee results in every occasion, but I guarantee effort. And we will let you know when we believe we can be helpful, and we will endeavor to help. So thank you for coming. I believe we are now going to have an opportunity for those of you who would like to take a photograph to commemorate your visit. I wish you great success and enjoyment during your time here in Washington, and appreciate your presence today. Thank you.
In an exclusive interview with NRI Pulse on US-India relations, he said,
US-India relations are crucial, and that's why I led a successful delegation to India last year, and I'll continue to engage to strengthen relations between the US and India.
When asked about the importance of Indian Americans for the US economy, he acknowledged,
I think for too long, Indian Americans have been neglected and ignored by American political leaders. I'm working to change that. My goal is to be the most present, visible, and responsive representative that Georgia's Indian American community has ever had.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
In line with his goal of actively engaging with the Indian American community, Senator Ossoff selected Mr. S.K. Raj, Chairman of the Georgia Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, as his guest of honor for Prime Minister Modi's historic joint session address to the US Congress on June 22nd.
And I'm very happy to say that I have been invited as the guest of honor of Senator Ossoff to attend this in the Capitol chambers.
NRI Pulse had the privilege of covering Senator Ossoff and S.K. Raj's interaction before the joint session in Senator Ossoff's Washington office.
Perfectly fine. It has been already great so far, so absolutely.
Okay, well, looking forward to seeing you in the chamber.
I know, absolutely. And then I'm hoping that you'd join us to meet the delegation in October. I'm still working out the dates.
Good.
And,
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you later.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Following the meeting, Mr. S.K. Raj was escorted to the joint session, where mobile phones were not allowed and only guests with a special invitation were allowed from a certain point. The visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the United States will be remembered as a proud and memorable moment for all Indian Americans and Georgians who were part of this historic occasion. The memories of this visit will remain cherished in their hearts until the opportunity arises again to witness such significant events.